Good morning. My name is Karen Kong, and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to my This or That Thursday. I usually post two cards in my Facebook group on a weekly basis, and I ask my crafting community, that's all of you guys, to choose a card for me to make live on Thursday mornings, and this is the card we are making today. I am having kind of a rushed reality crafting moment, a whole morning. As you know, like I like to say, my This or That Thursday is like reality crafting because things that will go wrong will go wrong. So I'll talk to you more about that as I get set up. I'm gonna turn my get my video up on my computer so that I can see your comments while we're crafting. If you're joining me live or on replay, I would love to have you join me and say hi and ask me questions. Join in the conversation because I don't like talking to myself. So just give me a second while I get things set up. And then I will turn my cell phone over so that we can see my desktop. Just give me a second. Okay, computer's up and running. Let's get this moved over. Close your eyes because I'm just going to set up my phone. Here we go. All right. So yeah, as I was saying, it's kind of been like a reality crafting moment this whole morning. My daughter's not feeling well, so I was running back and forth, checking in on her. And I'm supposed to be leaving for a first ever girls' weekend away this weekend. So, you know, there was packing going on. And then, to top things off, I realized late last night that I don't have any more of this plaid cards DSP. So I had enough to make this card, and then I had like a small little bit left over that I had cut off, and I went looking for more, and I realized I have no more. This is a retired set, so I'm trying to use, you know, my retired DSPs because we all know that we have lots of that in our stash. So I had to go looking for a replacement. So this morning was on top of everything else was getting a replacement set for this card. Good morning, Sandra. Thanks for joining me. It's been a morning. So yeah, so I found a replacement in the Rings of Love DSP. So this is like sort of a plaid design, and I think it'll work fine. It's just I couldn't find any mint macaron paper. I don't have any mint macaron cardstock, so I'm going to improvise, and we will do what we can today to recreate this card. So pretty much, I mean, like, you can do this card regardless with whatever you have in your stash, and that is exactly what I'm doing this morning. I am improvising and casing my own design to create something different. So what else was I saying? Oh yeah, so then I was looking around and trying to find something to replace this plaid DSP because they don't have enough for this card to make it again. And then when I went to go live, my the app refused to turn landscape. So it starts off in portrait, I turn it landscape when I start the live, and it would crash. So this happened several times. I ended up restarting my phone. Anyways, I found a workaround, and here we are, and I'm not going to waste any more time talking about that. So let's get started on this card. Oh, okay. So Sandra, you're asking if the Happy Holiday sentiment is foil or gold paper. It is from the Joyful Sayings Ephemera pack. So I'm back to using the ephemera because there's lots of things I can use, and I actually had not used any of the gold die cut words. And I don't know if it's a foil, but it's like it's gold covered cardstock. It's thin. It's not super thick. It's the same like feel as, like, I guess the rest of the sentiments in here. It's not quite cardstock, but not quite as light as maybe it's as light as DSP. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty delicate, so we'll talk more about that and as I go along. But let's get started on getting everything cut out and prepared. So that's what I like to do, is that I have everything set here. All my supplies are here. So we're using the sophisticated Sled dies to create these little skates. They're super cute. The Joyful Sayings Ephemera. I have Plaid DSP from the Rings of Love DSP pack, which is retired. And same with this. I mean, this Plaid DSP is from the Heartwarming Hugs DSP, which is also retired. So use what you have in your stash. I didn't think I had another Christmassy type of plaid paper, but then I found my Rings of Love and we're good to go. And we're going to improvise because I don't have mint macron. I was going to do mint macron for the circle again. And the last thing I used was the gold textured adhesive backed dots for the accent pieces. So let's get going. I'm gonna make some room, and we're going to work with cutting everything up and die cutting and embossing and getting everything ready. Okay, so we're gonna set that aside. I'm going to cut my okay, so my card base, I think I'm going to go with the Poppy Parade for the card base. Okay, so for this card, I'm going to use Poppy Parade, which I already have a half a piece of. Okay, so it's a half a piece of 8.5 by 11 cut in half, so that it is 5.5 by 8.5. So if you're joining me for the first time, I always put my measurements in the video description. So don't worry about writing everything down or you know, trying to keep track of it all. It will be in the video description afterwards. And just so you know, this one will be a little bit later going up. I may or may not have time to do it today, but it may have to be like Sunday or Monday when I get to it. Anyway, so we're gonna make it Poppy Parade, whereas this one was Mossy Meadow to match this DSP. Okay, so I'm pulling all my colors from the DSP pack that I took the DSP from. Okay, so if you have trouble deciding on a color to use, I usually go with whatever's in the DSP pack, and depending on whatever I have, I may vary it from there, but that's always a good place to start, is to use the DSP colors. So in this DSP, this is a Poppy Parade. That's a mint macron, and I believe that's a petal pink. I think it's somewhere in between the Poppy Parade and petal pink. It doesn't, it's like kind of light, but it's not quite pink either. So anyways, I'm sticking with the green and the Poppy Parade. And Evening Evergreen was the other green in this paper pack. And I'm just going to use it as a very slight accent color. So you see here, I have a very thin line of real red behind the plaid here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Evening Evergreen as my accent color here. Okay, so let's get cutting. So that one doesn't need cutting, but it does need scoring. So let's put this up here where you can still see it. I'm just going to bring over my paper trimmer and we will score this one. Oh, Sandra said there's a retired DSP pack called Plaid Tidings. I've never heard of that one. Do you have that one, Sandra, or you just kind of Googled it and you found it? I'm wondering if you have that in your stash and that's how you know about it. Okay, so I'm going to score this at the halfway point, so at 4 1/4. Okay, so now that is taken care of. I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to cut the Evening Evergreen next. So the Evening Evergreen is just a little bit skinnier than the, it's like it gives you a very, very thin edge. It's a 1/16 of an inch. So you can vary it to whatever you like. You can make it a little bit bigger if you want, but this is what I am using for my card. It is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So 4 1/8. Oh, you have it. Okay. I'm sure you could make this card something similar. You could do something similar with like other words, or turn it into, if you don't, obviously if you don't have the ephemera pack, you can, I know that Sandra has like other words that she can die cut. You can case this card and do something a little bit different. Okay, so it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. let's get this out of the way. So that's my mat. Okay, my DSP needs to be 4 by 5.25. Let me just double check that. I wrote down most of the measurements before I started, but I always like to triple check because once it's cut, right? And can't always salvage it. Okay, 4 by 5.25. All right. So let's cut this. So the back of this, let's see, I'm just going to check. I think I'm going to cut it this way. 4 inches by 5.25. Okay. And then I need the white piece that this is sitting on, and that is 3.5 by 4.75. Let me just double check how wide this is. This is, oh, this is perfect. I will just take off this way, 3.5 inches. And chop it down to 4.75. Wow, that is a lot of colors in that paper pack. And is there one that looks like it could be a Christmassy one, Sandra? Okay, so that's all I need. The oh, it was a Christmas pack. Wow. Okay, so then they all kind of look Christmassy. Is that what you're saying? Okay, so I need to do some embossing and die cutting. So let's bring in my cut and emboss machine. And I need my big one. I need the big one because this is a big embossing folder. So if you haven't seen it, this is one of the new embossing folders that are oversized. So it's quite big. I'll show you what the difference is. Here's a regular size embossing folder. That's what they used to be. Now look at the size. This is huge. You could do a much larger sheet with that. Okay, so let's get this out and we will emboss that white piece. Okay, so they're all Christmas plaid, Sandra says. So Sandra, you should be able to case this card if you wanted to fairly easily. You'd have lots of choices. I'm just going to put this into the corner and we're going to run this through. Right, let's see what that looks like. And this you could use, like, look at that, so cute. You could use either side. I think either side is good. I think I used the embossed side, the raised side, but I could use the debossed side as well. Either one. Okay, so let's put that aside. I'm going to bring in my cutting plates. So I need to die cut my skates. The skates are the cutest things. Oh yeah, no problem, Sandra. You can borrow my plaid embossing folder. No problem. Okay, so the skates, I need like a little piece of Poppy Parade. I searched high and low, guys. So what I did for this first card is I took matching DSP from this paper pack that had the same plaid, and I die cut my skates from it because the pattern in here is small and you can see it in that small die cut. I couldn't find something similar in the Rings of Love DSP. It is just, the patterns in that paper are just too big. You can't see them. They won't fit onto a skate and you wouldn't be able to get the same effect. But that's what I was, that's what I would aim to do. Ideally, I would pick something that is small enough and matches this, the DSP, and like choose a pattern and die cut from there, because it's so cute. I mean, it looks so good, but unfortunately this time I can't do that because there's just nothing that works. So I'm just going to go ahead and die cut plain poppy red skates, okay? So I just need a small piece. I don't want to cut up a huge piece for die cutting my skates. So I'm just looking through my paper pack. Oh, here, there's a small piece. All right, so there's my Poppy Parade. And I have leftover pieces. Oops, that's the skate blades, sorry. This is what I need. All right, so there's my skates. And I have a leftover piece of gold paper. Oh yeah, Plaid Tidings DSP. I'll have to take a look at that afterwards. And a tiny piece of white. This is where all your discards from your card making will come in handy. So this is like one of those 1/2-inch strips that got left over, and it's just wide enough to do my skate laces. Okay. And I like to face it that way because I find that if I face the wider side to the rollers, that sometimes they get pushed over a little bit. And because I'm working with such a small piece of paper, I don't want it to get pushed off. So I'm going to aim the thinner side because if it gets pushed, it'll just get pushed down, which I have room for. Oh, awesome. Maybe we should just have a day where you come over, Sandra, and you can use my plaid embossing folder, and I will use your paper, and we'll make lots of these cards, and that will be our Christmas stuff. Here we go. All right, so there's the blades. I need my... take your pick tool. I'm just going to poke these out. Okay, we'll put that aside. Oh, I know, Sandra, we need a craft retreat, but somebody has to organize it, and I'm not at a place and stage of my life where I'm ready to devote the kind of time I would want to put in. I've seen craft retreats organized by other demonstrators, and they look like so much fun, but there's a lot of work put into that, and all the little extras that make it super special, like the treats and everything that they put into it, it would take a lot of organizing, and I wouldn't want to do a retreat where I didn't put my best into it. So it will come one day. That's what I'm hoping. One day I will have time. In the meantime, though, we can just do little get-togethers and like impromptu stuff, right? Sandra says she's in. Yeah, ideally I would love to do that. I know that other demonstrators have had retreats at like hotels, weekend getaways, that sort of thing. I kind of like wish I could have my whole craft room brought with me when I do that sort of thing, because inevitably there's always something you forget, right? I'm always afraid I'm going to forget something. Okay, so let's go ahead and fold the card base. Let's burnish that fold. And let's start putting this card together. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, I know what I'm missing. I am missing the circle. Okay, so let's put together the mats anyways. Let's go ahead with that so then they won't get lost. So it is Evening Evergreen, and it's really just going to be a very small amount of it sticking out. It's just going to be an accent piece. Whoops. Okay. Actually, I'm not going to use tear and tape. That's, I'm feeling like I want to do this a little quicker, and I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal. Alright, so there's only a 1/16 of an inch here, and I'm just going to explain that I always start, when I'm trying to line up something before I place it down, I've got it on a 45-degree angle here, okay? So when I place it down, it kind of looks like this. And I line up all my corners, my edges, as best as I can before I start laying it down. And when I go to lay it down, I'm not going to press on it because that will just give me, see, I'm just going to hold it up a little bit, and I'm going to gauge if it's in the right spot as I lay it down, because this is not glue. If I'd used glue, then we would have more wiggle room. But today I decided to use Stampin' Seal. So that's how I line things up. Okay, and let's do the same for the Forever. Sorry, now I'm saying it's Forever Plaid. This is Rings of Love. This is not the Forever Plaid. Okay, so let's put some Stampin' Seal on here. Yeah, so things have been just a little busier than normal, especially with my daughter not feeling well. And I didn't even have a chance to post on Instagram this week. I just completely lost track of time and didn't get to it, but it is what it is. Okay, so that looks good. All right. For this piece, I think I am actually going to use the debossed side this time. And I'm going to use glue to adhere this, just for something different. But the glue I like on the textured surface because I think it'll stick better. It's a little bit easier to apply than Stampin' Seal on a bumpy surface. Thanks, Sandra. Yeah, she's just kind of under the weather. She's not running a high fever or anything. It's just kind of a low, just very, very low up and down kind of temperature. Like, so I'll feel like she's a little bit hot and then she cools off and she's okay. But then she's feeling very tired. And the big clue for me was that she said when she came home after 4 hours of dance last night that she wasn't hungry, which never happens. My daughter is, in the past year, has been going through a growth spurt and has been eating nonstop. And the fact that she is not hungry is a huge indicator that something is not right. Okay, so there's the card base all set. Okay, so that's all done. Let's get to that circle. So because I don't have mint macaron, I really wanted mint macaron on the front of this because I knew that if I made my skates Poppy Parade, it would, and I made the circle Poppy Parade, they would just blend in and it wouldn't look good. So the way I'm going to compensate for my lack of mint macaron paper is I'm going to actually blend the color onto a piece of white cardstock, and we will go that route. I'm just looking for a blending brush in that shade. I never seem to have enough blending brushes because, like, I don't want to have to wash them all the time. Okay. This one seems to have like a darker shade of green. Let's experiment and see if it comes off. I think some of the color may come off a little bit, but hopefully not enough to affect the oh yeah, that's not the right shade. That is not mint macaron. That is a mixture of whatever is on here already. I'm gonna have to find something else. Let me see. I have a little one here. I'm pretty sure this one has been washed because you can see it's like multiple colors there. Let me see. Oops. Is it just me or is this mint macaron like super dark? Like it's supposed to be this shade and like it looks quite dark. That's weird. Okay, let's try blending it on very light-handedly and hopefully we get the right shade here. Yeah, I guess it's like a darker shade of this mint macaron. I'm gonna go with it, and I'm just going to be very light-handed with this. Okay, so let's ink this up, and I'm just gonna tap off here, and I'm just gonna start from the center and very light hand with this so that I will get a lighter shade like we see in the DSP. So I'm just going to blend it all over this sheet. Although I might leave it more of a circular pattern because I am cutting a circle. So it might be kind of more interesting to have it darker in the center and lighter on the edges, and to kind of highlight what is in the center of the circle. But this is a hack that I've used before, where I know I don't have that color cardstock, but I have the ink. So I will just create my own cardstock in the matching color, or sometimes I want a lighter version of the cardstock to make it a subtle accent. And this is what I'll do. I'll just blend it onto a piece of white and to the color that I want it to be, and use it that way. Okay. All right, so it looks a little bit darker on one side. I'm just going to darken it a little bit more here to even it out. Okay. And maybe just for fun, I'm going to add some interest by spattering some water on it. I just thought of that, and that will add some interest to the cardstock. So I'm just going to take a water painter. It's got some just plain water, and I'm just going to flick the end onto my paper to create water drops. Okay, you can see them appearing, and I'm just going to quickly dab it with a paper towel. See, you get like little blotches of white just to add interest. So that's a really easy technique, and you can use it with any of the watercolors. Let's cut this out now. So let's move this aside, and I'm going to cut it out with a layering circle. Let me just grab the circle here. Okay. I'm just clearing off the die cuts off of the cutting board before I bring it back. There we go. All right, here it is. Let's position that on. Okay, and we will run that through. Whoops, sorry. Let me get this out of the way. So there's my circle. It looks a little bit more interesting, I think. Let's hope that it goes well with the theme. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead with assembly now. I'm going to bring in my silicone mat so that when I work with my glue and my adhesives that nothing sticks to my desktop. I'm going to start with the skates. So let's pull in the skate pieces here. I'll grab my tweezers. All right, so it's really just 3 pieces on this set of skates, okay? And how I put on the laces, these little laces here, is they get slid into that little slit here. Okay, and I figured out that I can just put a tiny sliver of glue behind the opening. So right here, where the piece of lace is going to peek through, just put a tiny row of glue here, and that will hold it in place. And it doesn't smear it all over the place, because when it comes through, it actually doesn't like push at the glue. So I'm just going to take this and push it in. I'm just making sure that the tops of these little laces line up with the top of the skate. And look, it just sits, it comes out as an angle, so it doesn't actually like push the glue aside. So then I go and press it down to make sure it sticks. Okay, same thing for this one. Whoops. See, that's why I work with a silicone mat, because then if that happens, it doesn't matter because the glue is on the silicone mat and that can be cleaned off very easily. Okay, so I'm just sliding this in, lining it up with the top of the skate, and then I press it down on top of the glue behind there. And that's the least messiest I found. So you don't get glue all over your fingers. If you just put that line of glue right behind the opening here, it won't get all over your fingers. So there's my skate laces. And I'm just going to take tiny dots of glue and I'm going to put it on the backs of the blades and then adhere those. So this is the easiest way I found. So just little tiny dots of glue so they don't all ooze out. Okay, so I just have enough there, and it leaves me room to grasp the blade with my tweezers without getting glue on them. Okay. There. Aren't those super cute? I love these skates. I'm gonna have to make more. I just love how these skates look. And all the different patterns that you can do. I mean, take a look through your stash. I'm sure you'll have something that will work. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna work with is the Happy Holidays. So I actually adhered that first. I don't think it makes a difference if you do that. You know what, I'm going to actually put this down first so that I don't have to flip this over while I'm like be touching those words, because I'll tell you that gold lettering is fairly delicate. Okay, so you don't want to be bending it too much, you don't want to be getting your fingers on it too much. I find that this gold lettering, it does take on smudges quite easily, and like you can even see here, like right there, it's like a little bit bent, and I didn't even bend it that much. It was just a little bit bent, so you have to be extremely careful with that. Let me show you with the Joy card. So this one I had worked with more, and you can see there's a little bit of crackling in the gold there. And what I ended up doing, because I wasn't happy with how it turned out, like the first time, I had bent it too much. There was too much gold that was like disturbed on the paper. So what I did actually is I took the second Joy from the set. There's 2 of each in each set of Joyful Sayings, and I glued it right on top, okay, so that it covered up my original issues with the paper, okay, so that's what you can do. But I'm hoping not to have to do that. So I'm hoping not to handle it too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on dimensionals and raise it up and put that down first, and then we'll glue the Happy Holidays right to the circle, and then not touch it again. But it really is pretty. And I really wanted to do something with those words because they are so pretty, and it is gold, so they're a nice impact on the card. All right, so let's center this. I'm not going to do anything too fancy. All right. And let's get the Happy Holidays out. So I'm just going to work with them one at a time. I've taken that one. Let's take the second sheet. Okay, so it's two separate words here. Season's Greetings was connected. I could use Season's Greetings for this as well and make a third card. Let me just pop these out. So I'm just trying not to bend these too much as I pop them. Just trying to be gentle with it. Let's see. I think I bent that one. I saw on one of the demonstrator videos from Stampin' Up! That some people actually pop two of these things out at the same time to give it a little bit more stability. Like if you have them back to back and you just pop out two of them at the same time, that actually might work better. Okay, so here's my happy. All right, so I know I need dots of glue pretty much behind everywhere except for the outer tips here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that down. Actually, yeah, let's do that. Okay. Don't feel like you have to put glue everywhere and that every single point has to be anchored. It really isn't meant to have to withstand like strong winds, I think. So I just put glue in kind of strategic spots and I try to aim for like the thicker pieces rather than the thinner pieces of paper, so that I won't have glue squishing out. And I'm very gently making dots so that I don't get large blobs. Okay. Yeah, you know what? If these had been on adhesive backing, that would have been really helpful. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to put it on an angle around here. I need to leave enough space for the holidays and my skates. There we go. All right, so let's get the holidays out. Let's see, that's right here. I'm thinking there must be a better way to do this. I just don't want to bend like the letters too much as I try to pop them out. Maybe if I use my tweezers, actually. I just need to break that attachment right there. Okay. There aren't too many attachments, and usually the ephemera is quite easy to break out. It's just that the gold, I'm trying not to disturb it too much. There we go. Okay, so holidays. Oh, I bent the D a little bit. Let's bend that back a little bit. Okay, so if I lay this out, I notice that there are loops and, you know, stems on these letters. So I have to make sure I put it down so that my D falls between the P and the Y in order to have enough room, right? Okay, so let's put the glue. Oh, I'm just going to do it again because I want to make sure. Okay, so this part of the H I cannot put glue on, so I have to concentrate my glue over here and not so much on the S. So let's put a little bit here. like really fine dots of glue. And it's not hard to do, you just have to be a little, make sure you're a little bit light-handed when you're pressing. Once you get the hang of it, it's totally fine. Okay, I don't think I can go much further than that. Let's go ahead and adhere that. Okay. Aiming for the D to fall between those two. And there's a very slight overlap there, but that's okay. I just need to have enough room to put my skates at the bottom. All right, because they're gonna go right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it, a dimensional underneath the bottom half of the skates, but not the top, because otherwise, because this is already raised on a dimensional, it would make it angled, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, so dimensionals only on the bottom half. I'm gonna use the mini dimensionals. So we'll do one because I know that this guy is going to sit on top and I want to position the dimensional in the right spot. Okay, right here. And if you wanted, you could put like a little bit of a dot of glue along the top actually. Like, can I still peel this off? Yes, I haven't pressed it down too hard. Oh, it's starting to tear a little bit. I'm just going to put a dot of glue behind here to help it stay. Okay. Okay. And I'm just going to double check. Okay, so I don't want to put a dimensional right here behind the toe because then it would sit on top of this skate. So I'm going to make sure I put my dimensionals in the back half of the skate. Oops. Okay, and maybe I'll put a little dot of glue now, right here. Okay, let's flip that over. And let's position it like that. There. We're almost done. Let's put on some gems. Where did they go? Here we go. And just take your pick tool to push these off. Okay, that's all you're doing when you're using the gems, is that you use the take your pick tool to push the gems and it'll pick it up and stick to it. Let's place one there. There, and I'm going to put one at the top as well. Here. And that is our card today. Look at that. I think that worked out okay. You can't see the plaid patterning on that DSP as well because it gets covered up, which is fine. I think it worked out fine because you can still, it's complemented by the embossing, and I think the card worked out. So, you know, maybe you like the more traditional greens and reds, but this is also green and red, and I think it makes a different kind of card. But But yeah, I think it worked out okay today. And I will post both card pictures later on, and you can case it with whatever you have. I hope that inspires you to make some holiday cards of your own, and I hope you have a great week. And I will be back next week to make some more cards with you. Have fun and happy crafting. Bye.